Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another FIFA 22 video where today we're going to be checking out the 4-3-2-1 formation. Now this has become a little bit of a popular formation recently. Now what I will say about this formation, it is not a favorite formation of mine personally. There is really only one play style that you can play with this formation, and generally that is kind of a lot of through balls in behind, over the top. It's a very strong counter-attacking formation as well because you have three forwards, so you can really kind of leave those forwards on stay forwards, and it is then a brutal counter-attacking formation. Now that is not a play style that I personally am good with. It's not a play style I enjoy playing with. Therefore this is not a formation that I personally like to play too often, but I have got a set of tactics and instructions that when I do use this formation are super effective, but they are not my preferred. This is not my preferred formation, but these tactics are super overpowered if you do enjoy playing the counter-attacking style of FIFA. Now that being said, these are the tactics when it comes to playing this style. Now defensive style, you have to play on balance. This is a very easy formation to play through. Not having a cam, not having a DM, playing between the lines in this formation is really easy, because a lot of formations have cams and DMs. A lot of the best formations in FIFA will have a cam. So obviously you don't have a DM that can man mark that said cam. So it's very easy to play between the lines once you get behind that midfield three. So you really cannot afford to play on any kind of press. And with that being said, then you have to play on a little bit of a lower depth. Now, I don't like playing on a 45 depth. Anyone who follows the channel and watches our tactic videos knows that generally I like to have my depth on 60, 65, tops maybe 70. But on this formation, with it being quite an easy formation to play through, you have to play a little bit deeper. So 45 is a good depth. Still allows you to be high enough up the pitch that you're not super deep, because when you are countering, you don't want your runs coming from too deep in your own half, because then they're really easy to spot. You know, if you've got a player who's making a run from 20 yards, you know, before the back four, really easy for someone to pick up. So you can't be too deep, but because this formation is really easy to play through, you really can't afford to give up too much space. You can't have a super high line in this formation. Now with that being said, the build-up play, we're going on long ball, because this formation is really about counter-attacking, and it's about utilizing those three strikers and making sure they're making constant runs in behind. So with that being said as well, you do need to have super fast players. Now the three players that I have, Son, Kane and Jota. Son is fine, but Kane and Jota not really ideal for this formation. You really need super quick. We're talking the top end 98, 99 pace attackers is really what you need, because you're going to be making lots of runs in behind. So it's really determined on pace. You need pace. You need good shooting. Generally, if you can get 5-star weak foots as well, that's going to be really critical. So any of those things that you can get will really help this formation succeed and become even better. In terms of the chance creation, we've left it on balanced. I don't think any of the other ones really work. Direct passing certainly will not work. It is probably the most effective in an offensive way, but it would leave you so open. This is already a really open formation, not having a DM, not having a lot of structure behind this team. And with this team generally just being a counter-attacking formation, playing on direct passing would make the offensive side of the ball very strong, but you would be so open like you wouldn't believe. So I think the best thing to do is leave it on balanced, and that's going to allow then our instructions to dictate how this formation plays, which is really important, exactly what we want. In terms of the width, we've gone for 65. I don't want to go too narrow. It's really important to not go too narrow and go on like 40 or 50 or something like that, because then the three strikers are going to be running in the same channels, and that's going to really make it very difficult to play through balls, because if it's too narrow, it's going to be really easy for the AI especially to cut those passes out. So you want to have around 65, maybe up to 70, just so there's a bit of space, so that when your strikers are making runs in behind, the aim is to try and make a gap between the two centre-backs, between the centre-back and the full-back, for that through ball to get through, and then you've got the pacey players to be able to get on the end of it, or you go over the top. So there has to be space in behind. You can't afford the formation to stay too narrow. Players in the box, you just want to keep that really on around about 5, because this formation is generally about that front three. You don't want the midfield getting too far out of position. They need to be up the field so they can link the play, but not too far that you're getting countered too easy. Corners on free kicks, just keep those back on 1, because it's very hard to score from corners nowadays. And in terms of the instructions, Ali in goal, obviously, or your goalkeeper wants to be on comes to crosses, and sweeper keeper, of course. Of course, the whole back four really needs to be on stay back while attacking. You cannot afford anything else, as we've said many, many times. This is a very, very attacking formation, and it is very easy to play through the lines. So you can't afford to have fullbacks wandering out of position and just leaving easy space. There's already enough space in this formation as is. So you can't afford to have any more. So of course the back four is all going to be on stay back while attacking, including the fullbacks. When it comes to the most central midfielder, one thing I really like to do in this formation is I like to use the drop between defenders. This is something that I really only ever use in this specific formation. I only find it works well in this formation because of that sort of flat three in midfield. So De Bruyne, or whoever your most defensive midfielder is, make him the central midfielder. So when you are out of possession, he'll just stay back a little bit more. So it just gives you kind of the feeling that you have a defensive midfielder, and then it allows the other two midfielders to kind of go forwards a little bit more carefree, knowing that you've got one of the midfielders back. So when you're on a counter attack, you can use that midfielder to bring him out and press the ball rather than dragging your centre backs out. And it's really important to not drag your centre backs out, because that's how you can see chances very, very easily. Now, with that being said, the two outside midfielders just want to be on balanced for the attack, because they need to get forwards. You know, we can't just leave the front three on their own. Of course, we're going to be playing a lot of through balls and stuff in behind. And the aim of this formation is to play through balls through the defense, through balls over the top, through balls down the wing. But you need the midfielders are the ones that need to be playing the through balls. So they can't be playing those balls from 40 yards away. They need to be sort of 15, 20, 25 at most. So they do have to get forwards and help out those attackers. So we can do that. In terms of stay on edge of the box, they need to be on stay on edge of the box. Don't want them getting into the box, making sure that they're there just in case we get any counters. Now, when it comes to the front three, of course, Son is fine. Kane and Jota not quite good enough, you know, and effective enough for this. You need more, you know, you need super, super high level pace, good agility, good balance, you know, good skill moves if you've got them. 5-star weak foots are essential, really reliable shooting. All three of these guys want to be on stay central, which is fine, because that it's going to mean that they're going to listen to the 70 width that we've got. So they're going to play a little bit wider. The formation is going to be a little bit wider, but then they're going to make the runs straight rather than making the runs out to win or anything like that. So that's what we want. Of course, getting behind works very well with the long ball technique, but also you want them on stay forwards. That's really, really important. So when you pick up the ball with someone like Zidane, you've got Son, you've got Kane, you've got Jota are going to be on the shoulder of the defenders pretty much at all times. So they're always going to be running in behind, and that's going to make it really effective. So if you're someone who naturally loves to play that way, loves to lob balls in behind, loves to play through balls in behind, this is going to be super, super effective at allowing you to obviously get that done. And it's very difficult to play against stay forwards, because if you have pace, defenders just can't keep up. So when you're putting those through balls in behind, it is just curtains, as long as then you're able to finish off those chances. So that is it for this 4-3-2-1 formation guide. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this formation, just don't personally like it for the way I like to play. My play style doesn't really play the counter-attacking style of FIFA, but these tactics are super, super effective. So if you're someone who wants to maybe set this up as one of your instructions, maybe you can set it up as a counter-attacking one if you want. This will be super, super effective. Of course, if you have the right players, as we alluded to throughout the video, to make this as effective as possible. But that is it for today's video, guys. So if you did enjoy, do drop a thumbs up and make sure you hit the subscribe button as well if you are new to the channel. But that is all for today, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.